And then we'll be good. Alright, starting again. Alright, so apparently YouTube is really making me angry. Now that we're on the actual right show, let's start this again. Welcome to the Jedi Academy on the actual Jedi Academy show line thing. I blame Dr. Finn. I don't know what he did, but somehow, some way, YouTube and Dr. Finn conspired to make this happen. But welcome to the show. I'm restarting it, so we were introducing everybody. But yes, we are actually running on the right. Dr. Finn, I feel like punching something. And by something, I mean a person. And by a person, I mean you.
Welcome to the Saturday morning lunch
Hey, welcome everybody. Let's introduce everybody again. Let's try this again. We've got Dr. Finn, medicine woman, who you just heard.
Good morning.
We have Stanley Red, who I've also introduced again.
Hey.
And don't make him angry, or he'll come get you. And he's monitoring chat, and he is scooping up all your questions. So be nice, or he won't get your question. And then let's start this all over with who's here for the Jedi Academy panel. We got our boy Scissorman Warrior.
What is happening, y'all?
Yeah, it's great. Also, we've got the one and only Ramon.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
My Ramona. All right, and then who else popped in here? Wait a minute, someone popped in here. Who is this? Oh my God! All the way from the frozen tundra of the north, the Canadian communist herself, the maple syrup lover of all. Too many G's here. You know, I just did that great introduction. T Money, you better say something, young lady. And she fell asleep again, Finn.
I think she's here in spirit.
Yeah, she's unmuted, but maybe her mic isn't working.
I mean, why did she do this? Why, Finn?
Well, because it's fun to torture you. You know, after you went on the wrong stream and everything to start, then it's just like, okay, let's just find another.
The right stream. YouTube took me to the wrong stream. I know for a fact what I hit. It's not that hard. It's like Jedi Academy. Stupid YouTube. All right, T Money. For some reason, it says hand on her thing. I don't even know, what does that mean, Finn? I'm getting the 5-finger high five symbol.
She's raising her hand to be called on. You can.
I've been calling her for the last minute or two.
I love the hand icon. So Zoom has a feature for those of you guys that don't know.
Oh no, you did not give me the damn hand, T Money.
It's just hilarious. So Zoom has a feature that allows you to raise your hand in order to be called on to talk, and it helps when you have a bunch of people in the chat, and you can unmute people as the person. But the T Money just has her hand up now. Oh, it's the greatest thing.
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
It's asking for her to be called on. It's the way to moderate who's if you have.
But we called her. Again!
I know.
What is this?
With her mic. It's her mic. We can't hear her, so we'll figure it out. The T Money is here. She's listening, but she can't talk at the moment. So we'll figure it out.
T Money.
All right, let's get to the introductions. We'll figure out what's going on with T.
Oh, all right. Wait, there's another TMG in here. We are being invaded by T Money G's everywhere. Why?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there she is. Jesus, what are you doing, woman?
That introduction where you went on the other stream, that must have opened a tear in the space-time continuum or something. I'm not sure.
Oh, I blame Montreal for that one, and YouTube, and all the little pygmies down there, Guinea. Well, I'm glad you finally got your mic fixed and could join us there, young lady.
Thank you. How's it going? Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you've got your maple syrup and your coffee combination.
No.
No.
It's too early for that. Yeah.
What do you mean? How are you going to function? You haven't had your coffee yet? God help us.
Full disclosure, I was I was trying to do the stream while lying in bed from my phone, and so I had to, when it didn't work, I had to like run to my computer. So
Well, make sure you put another log in the fireplace and have a blankie. It's very important to have your blankie.
sorry.
Because I'm sure you're sitting there in your bunny slippers and your PJs, you know, being all trying to stay all warm and stuff. See if you had coffee, tea.
I know.
You could be nice and warm.
It'll happen.
And the
I was up
maple.
late last night. I was making some movies last night,
You make
causing some havoc, setting my Grand Arena defense at like 4 in the morning, 4 hours ago.
I just been using the same defense. It's worked out pretty well so far. So we'll do the finals tomorrow. And I've learned a valuable lesson from doing 3v3s online, guys, that you let people help you set your defense and then you ignore them for offense. Because you'll get in trouble if you do listen to your fans. They throw out the craziest stuff and you're like, all right, I'll do that. Okay, I lost. All right. See, anybody else pop in, even though I've got two T-monies? Good? Okay, good. All right, so, anything happened in Star Wars Galaxy of the Heroes this week? Let me think. No. Oh, they announced Revan's coming back, y'all.
Have you started farming for him yet?
Oh, I've got everything I need for that. T-Money, come on, T-Money, who's talking? I think I need like 30 more droid collars and like 30 more stun guns to have all the gear done. So when he pops, I'll be able to do that. I need more Carbantes. I use a whole bunch of those.
When is Revan coming back?
31st.
I think it's pretty telling that that's happening right now.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like.
What do the stars align tell you, Remon, about that?
Anytime they bring back a character this quick, it's always because it's a necessary character for another character. And so they bring back the first character to give you a second whack at it. So they can say they gave you 2 chances to get the character before they brought out the new legendary character.
The reason Chewbacca came back so quick is Millennium Falcon, and I think like Warrior's saying, the reason he's coming back is whatever this KOTOR. I think he's going to be number 5.
Could be. But the other characters ain't even come into the story yet, so they better get that. I don't know what they're going to do. It's those new characters, Juhani and the other guy, Ordo, are not needed, perhaps, maybe?
Carthonasi.
Carthonasi, sorry, I said Ordo.
The only two that aren't farmable, but they'll stick him in Cantina and say, oh, that's an easy one.
When do you think they'll drop those, Warrior? When do you think they'll be in Cantina?
Less than 10 days from now.
Yeah, whatever event that's coming in February, and you know what happens every year in February.
We get Frozen.
That, and we also get some sort of a.
It's Valentine's Day. Oh, you're talking about in the game. I was thinking chocolate. Damn. Do y'all have Valentine's Day in Canada, T-Money?
We do. It's also called. And I was going to make something weird about maple syrup, but I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is, good old Maurice and I did some extrapolation way back, in like early November, and we extrapolated when Bastille Fallen and Canderous and what? No, I guess it was after. It was after their marquees were joined. It was after Bastille and Canderous's marquees, and. So it was, let's see here, January 31st for Juhani and Karth to drop into farmable nodes. And February the 21st, if they follow the same rhythm as they did with Jedi Knight Revan, with Bastila Jolie Mission Zelbar T3, then February 21st would be the date of a Darth who knows who would drop in the game. So we did that a while back, and every single date has been bang on, except the one where they went on their holiday and they came back that was 3 days late. Everything else has been right on. So February 21st, mark your calendars. Plenty of time to farm. Get moving.
It's time to start farming those characters now.
Get to moving.
I know. All right. I don't think that's other than Grand Arena going on. We've got Territory Battle. We got Grand Arena 3v3. Anything else? Let me think. I think that's it right now. So, but get your stuff farmed. If you haven't farmed Revan, now's the time to panic. I don't know why even. We've been telling you to be ready. He's coming. He was coming. We told you. So if you didn't farm the characters and now you're panic farming, I can't help you. I can't help you at all. But go ahead and get your questions in. Everybody that's new to the Jedi Academy should know how this works. Just a friendly reminder: put your questions in. Stanley will scoop them up, and then we'll get them out to this wonderful panel of folks. Wait.
Did you see that the TW bonuses are coming back? It just came yesterday that the next TW is going to have clones and Jawas and everything again. Eek.
I'm excited for it. I like those.
Just do a couple at a time. Damn.
I know they did do 4. I would have been fine with 2, but it was fun getting the bonuses and trying to figure out. How to do stuff.
But I mean,
and then having seeing somebody accidentally load turn meter on one of the teams, it's just like, yeah, you just kind of screwed yourself. But yeah, so the next Territory War is going to have the same bonuses as the last one: Ewok, Jawa, Clone Troopers, Imperial Troopers, and First Order ships. And then the next one is going back to vanilla, so no bonuses, just the regular one. Although I don't know if vanilla means that we're going to get the First Order and Bounty Hunter stuff back, or whether it's like actually nothing. I don't know what the definition of vanilla is.
Mm-hmm.
It should include all the original, because since the inception, the First Order and Resistance had those bonuses, and that's all it ever had. And then, so it should include those original bonuses, because that's their definition of vanilla, is the bland Territory War as it was launched. We've never had a Territory War without those bonuses instituted.
So that's what I thought. Until you read the post and they wrote Vanilla Territory Wars is the standard mode that has no special bonuses or bans. But then it says it's the regular Territory Wars that you played for many moons. So it's a very confusing sentence to me.
It is very confusing, because it sounds like they don't even know what vanilla means in their own terms.
Exactly. So I wasn't sure what we're going to expect for that one. So hopefully they'll clarify it, because that isn't until the 10th of February. So hopefully they will clarify that.
We'll see. Finn, are we not getting questions?
Yeah, we are. The other thing, really quick, while we're putting together the questions here. I don't know if you guys were, when you were talking about the Revan, I wanted to see if you guys were kind of confused by this.
Revan.
I know that Revan coming back does seem like it's a little bit early, right? But is that really just confusion because they included the word journey in the description of his title? Because legendaries have typically come back at this kind of cadence.
Yeah,
but
Luke came back early.
This event is just weird in its entirety, right? Because it's like a legendary in what its requirements were, but its unlock was similar to a journey. Journeys typically don't come back this soon. Legendaries do. I don't know what to make of this like new event style that they're creating.
Their cadence is all messed up. It used to be 4 to 6 months minimum for any legendary or hero's journey period. When Emperor Palpatine came into the game, the first attempt, I obviously couldn't do it. Same thing with Yoda. I had to wait 6 freaking months for both of those characters to come back. And now those characters are on an every other month cadence, where they literally come back every other month, December and then just, February. And so I don't understand their cadence to bring in an ultra rare character and then, make some of us wait 6 months on crap characters in relevance. And then you got a new character that's super amazing, and they bring it back, 2 months later or whatever, 3 months later. It's a bit frustrating for those who were ready the first time around. But it's a good thing, I guess, for the rest of the people who barely missed it the first time. And I think they feel like they need to have that justification. Well, we gave them 2 shots. They weren't ready the first time, but they were still focused. They got them the second time, which is true. Anybody that never stopped on Revan would be ready at this point, free to play, had they just continued to farm. since the first inception of the event. But their cadence on that is totally messed up, because they used to call them ultra rare events or rare events, and that used to mean something. Now it means nothing because they've ruined their own cadence. So when they say ultra rare event, that means they'll probably give it to you in another 6 to 8 weeks, which isn't what it used to mean.
I blame Finn.
I don't know if it's been 6 weeks, but when did Revan drop the first time around?
Oh, was it?
I'm just looking
October?
on the calendar here.
2 was September. Revan
Well, they
was
brought
October.
Chewie. They brought Chewie back 8 weeks later, and it's probably been 10 weeks since Revan. So I mean, the cadence is messed up, regardless of
October 18th.
We can fiddle
October,
faddle, but
January. Well, that's if it's October 18th, that's a full 3 months. I personally think that these journey events, we're on to them, right? We know what's going on. We know what needs to be done, and if they are making the journey the legendary events on the journey events on the same timing that the legendary events were on, well, we know what's up, right? We know when they're coming back, and there's no panic if you're on a schedule, right? So you have to, they're going to have to make a time crunch somehow. So if that's, in between events, I mean, everybody should, okay, not everybody should have been farming Revan because there's a lot of things to farm, but if that was a priority for you, you have had time for that.
I still blame Finn.
Of course.
Are we ready for questions?
No, wrong. I wanna kind of just make you all wait for it. Now we can start getting to questions. All right, let's see here what we got. Now they're coming in. Now that Finn's actually doing something.
Acheron, question: what are the best teams to take down Revan in 3v3 and Nightsister team with Zombie in 3v3?
Oh, I didn't. It would help if I actually picked someone to answer the question. Oh my god.
This is my first time on Jedi Academy.
I know. What I'm supposed to do, Stanley.
He's doing fine. Ranger's the one that's slacking, streaming to the wrong video, and Ranger's
Oh yeah. Well, why don't you pick people then, Finn?
Let's start with Warrior.
I'm gonna go. Do something else. Stupid Finn. Go ahead, Finn. You go ahead.
Repeat the question for Warrior, Stanley.
Acheron, question: what are the best teams to take down Revan in 3v3 and Nightsister team with Zombie in 3v3?
Okay, so let's tackle the first one, which is Revan. Revan in 3v3 is actually easier than 5 versus 5 because they have to kill their team and only pull a few key people. And most of the really strong teams, it's Revan with Jolie and Yoda. And so there's a couple trains of thought. One is if you always should look at your opponent and his mods and everything like that to compare where they stand with their modding. And if you find that you have superior modding, which sometimes happens, you could very easily actually use a mirror match. Mirror matches are always they're not recommended by me in the sense that traditionally for me, I have inferior modding compared to my opponent, so it's not something I lean in on. But for other people with superior modding, mirror matches always work. The other train of thought is you might want your Revan on defense if you have superior modding, because then you can guarantee you can stop your opponent and you'll guaranteed win because you did that. So my other train of thought would be to go with a non-mirror match, and I would use any type of team that has massive control. What I mean by that is a Thrawn-led Emperor team, because you can fracture. And or you could use like Sith with the Traya trio with Darth Nihilus and Bastila Fallen. With that kind of control, you're able to kill that team with relative ease. I use Traya, and my Traya's slow. She's like 223 speed. My Bastila Fallen is a 4-star. Gear 11, and just leftover mods put on her. And then Darth Nihilus has whatever mods he had on a year ago. And I take down every Revan team in my first attempt every time. So that's the counter that I would say is the hard counter that works every time for me, even if I'm totally and completely outgunned. But you can use mirror matches, or you could even use a Thrawn Emperor-led team. Empire-led team, because you can control the opponents, and that's really kind of the important thing is being able to stop one of the characters from going insane and then focus fire another character down. Once you kill him, you can go back to the one that was fractured, kill him. Just note that fracture does not last nearly as long. So if this is a strategy that you're wanting to employ, it's obviously too late now, but in the future, you may want your Thrawn to be actually a lot slower than he is probably modded for. So that way his fracture lasts a little bit longer. But Traya is probably the best counter for that. Now let's move to the next one, and that is your Nightsisters that everybody hates. The train of thought on this, and a lot of people just go, oh, I just totally forgot about that, is you have to be able to target whoever you want. Why? Because there's zombies there. Zombie means you don't get to hit whoever you want. You have to hit zombie over and over and over nonstop. And if they are smart, they know how to build their team. And so you're going to be struggling. So you need a couple of things. One, a lot of them are doing the Acolyte stealth combo, which is a nightmare because she has her special, which just regenerates all of her health. And so even if you do an AoE, it hurts her, but it doesn't kill her when she's in stealth. So you need a couple of things. One, you need a team that can target whoever, whenever. So that leaves you with a few options, such as CLS. With his special buff, he can target whoever, whenever, and you need that. The other thing is with CLS, if he's with Han and Chewie, well, with Chewie, when he shoots, Chewie shoots, and he does massive damage until you can get kills really quickly. So CLS Chewie Han combo works through that really fast. I've had a number of people try it, and it works very well for them. For me, I don't use my CLS Chewie for Nightsisters. I feel like a better combo to go against them is Jango Fett Boba Fett +1. And the reason for that is Jango Fett Boba Fett, both from the moment the battle starts, can target whoever they want. And so you can go ahead and take whoever you feel like is the biggest threat, such as Asajj Ventress or maybe Old Daka, and you can just take them down to near death and then make sure Jango Fett finishes them off. And when Jango Fett finishes them off, they can't be revived. So you don't have to worry about that whole thing with the zombie bringing them back to life multiple times and have to kill Old Daka 3 times. It doesn't happen. And then you can target whoever you want again and target the other person. And then if you happen to have that stealth combo where you got Acolyte under stealth, you've got multiple AoEs from the burn to the AoE ability block, all these AoEs happening, which allow you to wear down a character within stealth with relative ease. So the Jango Fett Boba Fett combo is probably my favorite for that particular thing. And I win every time and get at least 50 points minimum, if not more. The last time I think I got 53 points. So that would be my best option, but the other one is CLS or any team where you can target who you want when you want. That's kind of the key, because you have to go around the stealth or the taunt. The other thing is some people use Emperor Palpatine, and then they use Tarkin and Vader. And the reason for that is Emperor Palpatine can put shock over the taunter, so that way you can kind of ignore the taunter and you can start to focus down. And with all the debuffs, Emperor Palpatine goes really, really fast. However, your modding needs to be on point, and you can be outgunned. And I have lost with Emperor Palpatine lead going against Nightsisters multiple times, but I've never lost with Jango. So it's one of those things you kind of have to choose who you feel like is going to give you the best chance of winning, and you need to know how good your opponents are as to which counter you can go with, because Emperor Palpatine's easier to kind of give up, and a lot of people want their Jango for something else, but for me, I have to go all in on that to make sure I get that one-shot kill against Nightsisters, because I struggle so much with them.
This one, I guess, for Riemann Azab. Billy Gunn question: with Revan returning this week, is that confirmation he will be needed for next event?
I mean, it's not confirmation, but I think so. I mean, there's not a time I could think of where they didn't bring the character back early like this. Because I would say, like we discussed earlier, if Revan wasn't going to be tied to the event, I don't think he would have returned for probably another 2 to 3 months. So I think the fact that he's coming back in February, when we typically, 2 years ago, we got Darth Nihilus in February. Last year, we got Darth Sion in February. and this year they're going to release another character, and I think it's very I think it's pretty clear that yeah, like I think Revan's going to be the 5th character out of the 4 KOTOR characters for some legendary character here. I mean, that's just what I think. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be Darth Revan or Malak or somebody else entirely, but I think it'll be a KOTOR related Sith character like it has been the last 2 years, and I think that Revan's going to be a part of that. Yeah, for sure.
Finn, why are you not directing questions? You better get on your job, buddy.
Hey, how are you liking that coffee?
It's delicious.
Make sure to ask Ranger questions too, Sanely. Let's give Ranger the next one.
What the hell? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Obongo 1. Question: Arena mods. Is it worth switching from a hell set 16-speed mod to a lower speed mod with a better set bonus? Is it worth 3 or 4 speed per mod?
Depends on the character and depends on the mod set that you're using for. I mean, speed isn't everything, right? We've discussed this in all kinds of shows. A hell set 16 speed, it's a good mod, but where are you using it at? So, let's say it's on a square, but you're trying to run a speed set, and or what if it's for if you're trying to run defensive sets on tanks. I mean, health mods are your basic mod that with no matter what the speed is that you can use on any character. Some characters need health more than anything. Some characters need other things. So it's not just. There's a lot more to that question than that. I mean, speed in arena is really, really important, but it's not important on every character. It's just important on those characters that need to be super fast. So you have to kind of take that into consideration. If your top character, like Revan, who's the fastest you want on that team? Well, Revan. Then after that, it depends on who the character is. Kenobi doesn't need to be that fast. Kenobi just needs to be, tanky as crap. So you have to kind of put it in the context of where you're using it and who you're using it for. Now, if this is the best speed mod you have and you're trying to make your fastest character fast, yeah, then throw it on there. If not, and if you've got faster mods and they're on your faster characters that make your team go, then use it for your roster that works best. If that's for arena, great. Especially if you need another for speed, for a health set, and it's got plenty of speed, and maybe one of your other characters, great. But it's not the be all end all thing. I would not. I would only replace it if it makes sense. Sometimes, unless it's, you got to be careful when you do your mods. It gets people into trouble, especially with arena. So if it's for your fastest stuff, yeah. If not, then no.
All right, let's take the next one to Miss T Money.
1L73. Question: Isn't it a bit too early for T Money to be using big words like extrapolating?
Should I use that word?
Yeah, when you were talking about you and good old Maurice. Extrapolating.
Oh, yes. Well.
And now...
I have that written down in the spreadsheet. How I extrapolated.
All right, let's give T another question here.
Gav P. Question: What's the best mod setup for Emphas Nest? I'm gearing her to gear 12 and with plus 500 offense, plus 126 speed, health primaries on circle, cross, and triangle.
Well, my friend, this is an area of passion of mine. There are 2 ways, in my opinion. There's many ways to mod NFES, along a spectrum, but there's, 2 main ways. One is a tenacity build, and the other is a fast build focusing on her health, which is the basis for her protection shield. If you're going that way, how you've done it is right. I would change the triangle out to a crit damage triangle, because once she gets going, she's going to crit every time. So you might as well take advantage of that. Try and find one with lots of flat health on it. And she's a great one to consider 6Eing the circle and the cross for. You can go for an offense cross, but I like the health cross. When I build my nest I have built my nest before with 3 health sets and got her to, I think it was 55,000 base health. So that was very, very hard to kill. You basically need, Grandmaster Yoda or an Ezra, somebody with like a big single hit damage to take her down. Opponents of mine in Territory Wars would take Imp Droid against her. Now my nest is built for a tenacity build. She's built to go in under Kira so that she regains bonus protection. Sorry, not bonus protection. She just regains protection under the Kira lead. And that build is, my nest is combined health and protection over 100,000. And she's got 150% tenacity on her. That 150% tenacity is because I use her as a Revan counter with Rey. So I put the stealth on her, and then she counters, and she can't get stunned and resists the reduction in her max health versus Revan. You can still do that even though they nerfed her. It's completely possible. My nest lives, I don't know, 80% of the time using that team. So that's the 2 builds: super high health and a focus on offense with the crit damage triangle, or a full tenacity build with mega protection instead of health, just to stop them from getting through that protection and one-shotting her, because Grandmaster Yoda can still do a ton of damage under Revan.
All right, let's go back to the top with Warrior.
Darth Cyan 1972 question: have bounty hunter ships 7-starred farming B-28 in Lightside? Should I farm Sith fighter or Anakin ship in fleet? I can't afford the crystals to farm both ships right now.
Anakin, always, all day, every day. That ship is plug and play, and I just rhymed.
Word?
You don't think that they're calling for a cap ship legendary coming up here? I think that's that's what I'm smelling. I think maybe 6 weeks for a 5-star unlock.
Yeah, I get that, but you got to go with what you know to be true and know what you can get. And he says he can't do both, so if he has my opinion. My opinion is that he'd go for the ETA-2. The ETA-2 will work in every fleet and every ship combination, no matter what, and will help him maintain his crystals in Arena, which is kind of the big deal. A new capital ship will probably be really awesome, and there's a chance you might be ready for it in time, even with going for ETA-2 first. But definitely, if it was me, I would, and I didn't have the ability to do both, I would do ETA first before the Sith Bomber. The Sith Bomber is okay. It's a decent ship, and it's not something you'll see in any meta right now. Maybe, in 2 months, at the end of February, and then maybe in the beginning into March, we'll see the meta shift a little bit in ships. But you should, if you're doing crystal refreshes, like you said you were, be able to churn through a ship pretty decently and be able to then move to and focus on the next ship and hopefully have it done in time. If you're truly concerned about the possibility of the meta changing in the next 2 months, you could then disregard my suggestion and do the exact opposite of what I'm suggesting.
Okay. Next question for Ramon.
Travis Anderson, best 5th after Crew, Kylo, First Order, Stormtrooper, and Fox.
Best 5th, Kylo. What was the question again?
Best 5th after Crew, Kylo, First Order, Stormtrooper, and Fox.
Kylo, First Order, Stormtrooper, and Fox. I would say First Order Officer. I mean, or Kylo Ren, like regular Kylo Ren with the mask. But yeah, I think First Order Officer personally.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, he's more of like he kind of supports the rest of the team. I mean, you have to have a Zeta on First Order, Stormtrooper, and you should have 2 Zetas on Crew, and if you have a Zeta on Kylo Ren masked, he's a good option there because he kind of just feeds turn meter to the team. So he may actually be the better option for that. But I kind of like First Order Officer too. So if you have a Zeta on Kylo Ren Mast, I'd say probably Kylo Ren Mast, but otherwise First Order Officer.
He's already on that team, so it's the 2 Kylos, Stormtrooper, and Executioner.
Okay, yeah. So then, I mean, First Order Officer is better than First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, I think. So.
All right. Let's go with Ranger for the next one.
Oh no.
Apropos win. Question: I am getting tired of Traya. What should I think of when choosing CLS or the about to be Revan? My arena is already full of the 3.
Well, you got to go with one. I can understand the Traya thing where you're sick of having Traya, but CLS team, if you've got them all geared and everything, is a really good climbing team on offense. But Revan's meta for a reason. So if he's coming out and you can get him and use him, then you can use your Revan team. I mean, until then, I was using Traya and I was like, okay, I've been using this team for a long time. I've got the CLS team just sitting there doing nothing. Let's just use a CLS team, So both teams are. All the teams I mod and have them scored away, but sometimes changing it up. When you use the same thing over and over and over again, it gets kind of monotonous when you do the same battles and stuff. Same thing in a fleet arena for the longest time. It was the timeout team. You're facing the timeout team, so you kind of want to mix it up and go with a different lineup, but. There's only really, those are the 3 main teams you'll see in your arena shard, so it is what it is. But if you're going to pick between CLS and Revan, get your Revan and get them locked and loaded. There's a reason why 49% of people top 1 or top 10, top 1 are using Revan, and that's because he's that damn good of a character. And that's why we've been stressing for everybody to get your stuff ready and have the gear ready and have the Zetas ready and everything and just hoard, because he takes a ton of gear and a ton of Zetas and a ton of Omegas to get up to be completely done. So if you can get Revan, get him. If you want to change it up and you're not going to be able to get Revan, then try CLS. It's a fun team. You can climb with it. It can beat both Traya and Revan teams, and give it a whirl. See what you think. Try new things.
Okay, next question for Team Money.
Captain Obvious. Question: if your Grand Arena opponent is stronger than you, should you go harder on offense to maximize points in case of a draw?
Well, I spend a lot of time analyzing my opponent, so I think there has been somebody was at a big disadvantage with me, and they did cheese, but they cheesed in a way that I couldn't go in with 2 characters, and that was a relatively close match. But really, if you're outgunned, you really have to out strategize them. So what I do, this is so nerdy and silly, but I'll go through their roster. Just like right in game, as well as using the Grand Arena bot, and just go down the list, see what bounty hunters they have, and check their mods, and then I find like all of the little weaknesses they have if they don't have, a Kylo Ren unmasked team, or if their modding is weird on like certain characters, and I'll take advantage of those things. So if someone has like a really strong, like more gear 12 characters than me, but they kind of have like diluted speed mods across everywhere, then I'll put like my like fastest tunes on the board, so that they're struggling to try and take those teams down, so that they're using kind of their best in their roster when they shouldn't, just to get ahead of a team that's starting with like Leia going really fast, for instance, or Chopper, things like that. So you kind of like, it's when somebody asks me, what should I farm next? Well, I have to look at your roster for like, an hour and talk to you before I gotta decide that. And this is the same for Grand Arena. It's like, you really have to pick through and know your opponent. Yeah, I know that's not super answering. Cheesing hard, I have never seen anyone win with that. I don't know if the panel has a different experience, but I've never seen anyone win cheesing hard, cheesing lightly. Like I've never had anyone come super close to me, like within 30 points, if they had cleared, but they didn't clear. I think a strategy for Grand Arena is to make your teams very, very good, to have fewer better teams, and to go very, very hard on defense, and just plan out your offense with as many counters that are flexible, like universal counters like Rey, Traya, but putting as much, be courageous when you're against a weak opponent. Put more on, like take more out of your roster that you feel uncomfortable. So you have to struggle to clear their board a little bit, and it'll teach you how to do it.
All right. Let's break the rotation a little bit here, because I see we have somebody else that joined. Felix, are you with us?
I am with you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We have King Felix. Ranger, do you want to do his introduction? Because you always do.
Well, there's not much that can be said about King Felix. We're in the same guild in MC. He is currently serving our great nation of the United States that is not Canada, in the armed forces in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. What more can be said, Mr. King Felix?
And he's frequently late now to Jedi Academy.
Yeah, why is that? Who do you think you are, T-Money? You don't have the clout that she does. You can't just show up late.
Hey, it's been a busy month, all right? I'm still half asleep trying to wake up.
Well,
I tried to stream from bed this morning, but it really didn't work.
Jesus.
And that is a lot more innocent than it sounds. Okay,
Yeah.
Ainley, let's give the next question to King Felix.
One strong man. Question: when do you guys expect Mythic raids to start, and will it make guilds fall apart from people leaving trying to get the biggest next thing?
Well, there's always a guild shuffle when new things come out. People either go down to get higher rewards, or they go up to a better guild so they can start earning those rewards. I haven't heard anything about the Mythic raids. Obviously, CG is not in my email ever, but I hope they're soon. My guess is the summer, if they do them at all, because I've heard too many promises for these type of things. But there's always the guild shakeup when new raids come out, or territory battles, territory wars. There's always a lot of movement where people trying to find a fit. So hopefully your guild stays together and everything works out.
Yeah, just to clarify, this hasn't been confirmed by CG. This is just what people are speculating on.
All right.
Hopefully, I'm excited. I hope there's Mythic raids. I mean, the 5 minutes it takes me to do Rancor is not even worth it half the time.
What do you mean? You just put your team on auto and go do something?
Yeah, but I have to remember when it goes live, and that's tough.
What do you mean? You get notifications from the guild all the time, you knucklehead.
I know, but it's, and it's a lot of times I'm at work when it's happening, so.
That's a good point.
When it happens on lunch, it's perfect.
All right, let's go back to the top with the next question for Warrior.
Gav P. Question: how can you beat Revan / Jolie / Grandmaster Yoda team in 3v3 Grand Arena without Revan or Traya?
Thrawn was the suggestion I made about 20 minutes ago. Thrawn Empire team, Death Trooper and Thrawn Fracture combo, where once you kill one of them, you got to fracture and kill one of them. And then they revive, and then you fracture and kill again, and then you use your death mark to make them permanently go away. And your third it depends on what you have available to you, because you're going to need, personally, I like using Nest with Thrawn and Death Trooper, because Nest is very durable, can daze, and can also constantly counter and remove all of their buffs. So there's another option there, but a lot of people that don't have Nest are going to have to use someone else. I really hate using Wampa there, because even though he's effective, he is way effective on his own against other things and other teams, and I really hate using multiple counters in the same squad. So kind of sort of answered this in the past, but hopefully that helps.
Finn.
All right. Next question is for Ramon.
Doya-san, not do Jason.
Yeah, not Doe Jason.
Question: is everyone farming Sith Fighter and B-28 Bomber in the what-if case that you will need 4 Sith ships for the Ebon Hawk, similar to Han's Falcon?
I mean, personally, I believe that that's going to come at some point, but I'm not doing that right now. I mean, I'm focusing my hard node farms pretty much entirely on Bastille of Fallen right now. And, my cantina is going all the Candor Resorto. So, I mean, that's really just the main farms I'm focusing on. And that's mainly because for me personally, I know that whatever character comes out, that's going to be something that I'm definitely going to go for. For some people, they're more into the ship aspect of the game, and maybe it's more important to them to get like a more premier ship because that's their favorite part of the game, and the Ebon Hawk definitely will be one of those. So if that's the case, I would say for sure, if you're nowhere near getting this character and you're not you don't care if let's say Darth Malak or Darth Revan comes out this month and you're not going to make the investment to get those characters, then I would say yes. Getting prepared with Sith ships, I think, would make a lot of sense because I think something, whether it's the Ebon Hawk or something else, I think something is up there for sure.
Okay. Next question for Ranger.
Oh, no.
The Taco King 2 question: do I put protection or health mods on Traya?
Traya's best. It's for Revan. I mean, if you're using her for your arena team, I'm assuming this is where you're doing it. It's mainly protection and more protection, but there's other things you want to focus on too in the secondaries or the sets. So you can do health sets with her. You can do defensive sets with her. You can also do tenacity set with her. You're not worried about her speed, and then you want those protections on like the cross. You can go the triangle. You can even do the air if you want because you're not worried too much about her speed. But if you can get speed on her, that's fine as well. I mean, that's the best way to do it. The tenacities help her to keep her health from being just slowly drained. The protection is so she can take hits, and you just want her to be able to avoid as much damage and survive as long as possible. The way I run it in my team is, keep her up as long as possible so the Jedi slowly just wear themselves out with my Palpatine in there. She's going to die. In my case, she's going to die. But I basically, as long as they're up, I'm doing what I need to do to basically whittle their health down till I can just go ping, ping, ping and knock them out real quick. But yeah, I would think about, if you can, tenacity set, a defensive set, a health set, and then, some people like crit avoidance on the arrow. Some people like the additional protection, but you can go protection on the other things. The only two you can't do protection on is the diamond and the square, but you'll get defense from the diamond, and you'll get health from the square, and then the other you could go for the other 4 protection and then run with it there. And then you look at the mods too. Look at the secondary as well. Anything that has protection percentage or protection number, tenacity, or defense, that just adds up to everything on her. So that's kind of how you want to mod her, especially facing against Revan teams.
Okay, let's go back to Miss T Money.
Darth Scion 1972 question: seems CG has pulled away from the road ahead posts. I personally enjoy those, and since CG has many months mapped out, I wish they would release these timely. What is your thoughts?
I think she's getting maple syrup right now. She put some in the chat.
Did she throw the hymn in the air?
She said, "Be right back. Maple syrup is calling." Okay.
Really?
Yes, you did. So let's go to Felix.
Okay.
Did you
the
get
road
the
ahead? No, it took me a second, but I remember the road ahead posts. They used to come out, every quarter, pretty much on the money, and then it all got messed up when they had to redo pretty much the entirety of Revan's kit when they found him underwhelming. And since then, it has just been kind of a mess. So hopefully they get back to normal now that the last quarter was completely toast. So hopefully the future gets back on schedule, but you really can't expect CG to have everything on time because, well, let's be honest, they haven't been the best at that. Also, the holidays just happened, so there was 2-week break where probably no one was really working. So give them another quarter, and then hopefully everything's back on track.
Okay, let's go. I think Miss T Money has returned.
The hell?
Hello.
T Money has returned with a dinosaur.
Sorry about that.
All right, let's give Miss T Money and her dinosaur another question, Sanely.
Nathaniel Morgan, question: how long do you think we'll have to farm Karth and Johani? If it's for Sith month, 3 weeks at most, right?
Yes. Can I post a link in chat? It's just
Yeah, you should have
Excel,
access.
a Google Doc Excel, and basically, so the estimated farming dates for Juhani and Karth are the 31st of January, and the estimated date that will drop Darth Who Knows Who is February 21st. And I'm trying to get the moniker Darth Who Knows Who to stick, so help me out with that, because we don't know who it is. It might be Darth Revan, it might not be. It might be Malak, it might be Mitra, it might be somebody else. So this is what we're thinking. But so 3 weeks from January 31st to 21st, I would highly recommend that if you want to get this character, I think that there's still time. My guild started farming last week, as soon as they dropped, or this past week, and basically all resources are going to that. If you want to do that, and you're hopefully placing, in the top 20, 50 of arena, that's the only way I think you're really getting this free to play. And that's probably something that we don't say enough. When I say free to play, it's assuming that you're getting top in arena. But about 3 weeks. So January 31st it'll drop, and then the event will start February 21st. And usually we have events are like 7 days usually, something like that.
Yeah, usually they're a week.
Yeah, a week. So basically till the March the 1st or something like that.
Okay. Let's go back to the top of the order with Mr. Warrior.
Just Daniel, question: will Malak be legendary 5-star unlock or 7-star unlock?
If it is in fact Malak, I believe him to be legendary, which would follow the same cadence of 5-star unlock. And he will be viable at 5 stars, as all legendaries have been in the past. So that's my best guesstimation. I don't foresee them making him a villain's journey or anything like that, but I could be totally wrong.
Okay, next for Ramon.
Wargoal 128, question: more of a comment. Try using Veer, Stark, Death Trooper versus Nightsisters. I fought 7 Nightsister teams so far and haven't lost. Both Talzin and Ventress leads. Okay, well, let's get to an actual question. Decepticons, question: I have nearly 7-star Nightsister Spirit. How good is she in raids, and how to mod her the best? P.S. On the Battlefront stream last night, Ranger watched me die too many times. Why does Ranger hate me?
It's what I do, man. It's what I do.
Why don't we have Ranger take this question, and we'll give the next one to Ramon, since it was a Ranger-directed question.
I would.
Yeah, Ranger. What's the answer, Ranger?
I don't want to share. All right, what was the question again? Sorry, I'm just trying to do too many things here.
I have nearly 7-star Nightsister Spirit. How good is she in raids, and how to mod her the best?
I mean, potency, yes. I've never really used her in raids. The Nightsister team that I used in P4 does not include her in that lineup. It's Talzin, Asajj, Talia, Zombie, of course, and Daka, and I do really well with that. Um, I mean, you want potency on her. She's an offensive character, but speed, of course. I don't. Is someone else? Has anyone used her in P4 of anything, or used her in a raid for that? I mean, she's more of in my opinion, more of like a territory war, territory battle character, or maybe Grand Arena. That's where she's more effective. She's not a damage dealer. She's not going to contribute that much as say.
She is.
She is okay. So
Nightsister Spirit is a really big damage dealer, and I hate the setup for this team. I truly hate it. But in Phase 3, with that 1,000 res team, Nightsister Spirit, if she's one of the ones that's dead and just keeps on popping back to life, in like the 2 dead Nightsister rotation that you can do in order to do the Phase 3 1,000 lead damage team, she can really, really hit hard. But again, it depends on what you're using her for. If you're using her in a raid like that, you can just load her up with a bunch of damage. You're trying to get her to die and then keep on popping back up to attack Traya over and over again. If you use her more in territory wars and Grand Arena, more so in territory wars lately for me, I like putting her speed because she can go one-on-one with a lot of characters if there's ever like a leftover character.
Right, that's what I've right.
So,
but compared Finn to the Han Solo, Chex Mix team combination that people are using,
you don't have to restrict yourself to just one.
I know, but I'm saying if you had to use one or the other, some people are limited, right? Is zombie team? Wouldn't you want to say that for Phase 4? But then Phase 4 does it do as much damage in Phase 4 than the other characters? See, for me, it's about utility, and Talia for me makes the 5th spot because she heals on her hits, and
in Phase 4, yes. In Phase 4, if you're running the Asajj team, you need Talia for the heal. But if you're using it in Phase 3, because your guild needs more like Phase 3 damage in order to pull through the heroic Sith, Nightsister Spirit is a really nice addition.
I guess I could see that. I've never used her in Phase 3 or Phase 4, so...
Anybody else using her? Because I can say I honestly hate that Phase 3 setup with that Talzin team. I've tried it, I've managed to get it, but it takes way too many tries for me to get it right with the right Nightsisters dying and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's more of a desperation move if you're P3 is the hardest to beat with when you're conquering the raid, and so you kind of have that one champion who's going to sit in there for a few hours and try and make that happen for some big runs, but it's not a team that you want to be your a cornerstone for your raiding. And in P4, because she's got that foresight, she's pretty useless. That said, she's probably one of my top 10 favorite characters. She's got turn meter reduction on her basic. Her basic will hit hard, but it's her special that will she kind of dips down, leaves her health bar back with everybody else, which is just adorable, and will just whack characters for 60k easy and stuns them. She's really essential if you're trying to get Talzin-led Nightsisters against Revan, because she's bringing an extra stun for Jolie and a dispel for General Kenobi. She's a great character to gear. It's just when you gear her, depending on your roster. She can be, if you really love Nightsisters, then you're probably going to gear her early on. If Nightsisters are kind of just a side faction, you're probably not going to do it until you're like 3.5 million GP, 4 million GP, somewhere around there.
Okay. Let's give the next question back to Ramon here. Let's get him a non-Ranger directed question.
Next question. I have Chewie with 2 Gear 12 Plus pieces. Should my next Gear 12 Plus go on RH or AA for ship purposes?
I'm trying to think of what RH stands for.
Raid Han.
Raid Han. Okay. I mean, I think that does he have obviously he has the Millennium Falcon, right? So, I I would say, yeah. I mean, I would go with Han. I think that there's more value in kind of boosting that ship up as much as possible. I mean, right now I think that's the best ship in the game. Putting by AA he means Akbar, right?
I assume so.
Akbar plus. I mean, Raid Han is going to give you some more benefits in the game overall. You're going to get Raid Han a little bit tankier possibly, and also some more speed, and that can benefit you in a lot of areas. Whereas I don't think really bolstering or boosting up your Akbar is going to help you in any other area besides ships. So I would say, yeah, I would go with Han at least first, and then you can go with Akbar later.
Okay. Let's go to T-Money with the next one.
Jason Krulik. Question, does anyone have a guess when the road ahead is coming?
Yeah. I kind of feel like our pen pal has stopped writing us, right? Because those just aren't coming. I mean, we did have a road ahead that was kind of a sneaky road ahead. And as actually in the title, that was just the preview for Revan's Legendary. So that kind of got snuck in there, and we don't acknowledge that as a road ahead, but it was technically like titled the road ahead. And then, I think we've had one passed, but I don't know. To be honest, I just, I'm like, what's happening? Someone sticks a document in front of me. I'm like, okay. And I don't really know if it's what category it is in, but it would be nice to have a road ahead for sure. It's always nice to hear. I love hearing from Carrie. Her posts are adorable. And also one thing they said a while back is that, CG never does anything by mistake, because there was like a spelling mistake or something in there. Well, we know that 3 versus 4 bounty hunter ships, that mistakes are made, but if there's something that they don't correct, then it's a hint. So it's always fun to have those come up, because really every post from CG is a little puzzle. The game within a game, trying to figure out what's coming next, anticipating farming. That's probably other than managing the guild and supporting the guild. That's my favorite part of the game. So I don't know when the road ahead is coming back.
Well, as we know, CG Carey and Andrew Wilson have frequent sleepover parties at Warrior's house. So
Ooh.
They do.
So
well,
I think he knows.
Hashtag jealous.
I think he knows.
Warrior still.
Warrior.
Oh yeah, Capital Games totally comes over and has parties at my house. I know all of.
Does your wife make your famous chimichangas?
Like my besties. They love me. They totally love me.
They abuse Warrior. They bring over kegs and like trash his house. And
we need the important question here. So Warrior, pizza, wings, or both? When CG comes
I think it's
over.
his wife's chimichangas.
They always are drinking, and then they grab the wings. Like they're supposed to eat them, but they grab them and then they look at me and they say, "Where can I try these on?" And I'm like, I don't understand. I get lost. But no, I think they're all really great people. I just think there's somebody there that's not super happy with me. So I think that the vibes going out to me aren't as good as the vibes coming from me to them. Although I do think they probably think that I have a thing against them, and I know how business works, and I know how this particular industry works, and I think that sometimes I disclose things overtly that maybe they don't want to be disclosed, and or that they want to keep kind of a denial form in. So it's sometimes I think I frustrate them because I expose aspects that they want to keep quiet. So yeah.
You mean like when a new character comes out and it sucks and you say that it sucks instead of telling people to buy it?
I think that's more superficial, and I haven't like done that in a long time. Like I always tell people like these are the strengths, these are the weaknesses, or this is my opinion, or this is what I would do, or this is what I wouldn't do. Because I mean, it's just my opinion. That's like the whole point. It's like, what do I think? But it doesn't really matter what I think. It's just my opinion. But no, I'm talking more about other things. That's a rabbit hole I'm not going to go down today. But there's business practices, there's advertising techniques, there's all sorts of very strategic computer technology at work that a lot of people they're given very ignorant statements, and the whole community runs with it, and that's their official statement. And if they said anything else, they would get in trouble probably. So we're bordering on legalized gambling that's not identified as gambling, and it's a really precarious situation. And I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I play the game and I get it. I'm willing to acknowledge this is a form of gambling, when I don't think that they want that to be. They don't want their game to be pigeonholed like that. So I think there's some animosity towards me because of maybe my angle on that, which I'm not trying to be mean or derogatory. I'm just trying to be more forthright and honest with it. And I think there is going to be some future laws that are coming into place that are going to probably hamper some of these business models. But I think that's why they're trying to get ahead of it. And that's why you saw the stuff added, late last year about the percentage drops and things like that. I think there's going to be more of that required by law, but they're trying to get ahead of that. Kind of like my company raised the minimum wage for our employees way before the minimum wage went up, nationwide, because they wanted to kind of get ahead of it and look like, oh, well, we're being responsible, even though they just knew they were going to end up paying everybody minimum wage, the future minimum wage anyway. So I don't know. I just think that there's some of that. They some of that is not a bad thing. I think it's just they don't want to disclose some of that. So I think that I get kind of a bad rap because I think they're frustrated that I expose some of the I don't want to call them predatory practices, but gambling techniques that are utilized in Vegas that they're using that they deny, that are being utilized.
Okay. Let's give the next question to Felix.
John Davies, question: when I get Revan, what speed should I be aiming for to be competitive?
So that depends a lot on your shard. Obviously, it's not going to be like you can just create all the mods you need to get to the speed that you desire. But depending on how old your shard is and where your mods are into relation to the rest of your shard mates, you're shooting for about 300. Honestly, if it's one speed faster than everybody else, that works. Mine is I think at 312, and that has my fastest speed set on him, along with both of his Gear 12 plus pieces. But as long as he's faster than everyone else in your shard, you're gonna win 9 times out of 10. And if it's slower, you get a little bit of RNG that can help or hurt you, but it all depends on your mods. You just put your fastest set on him, and that's what it's going to be. Hopefully it's over 300. He's pretty fast on his own, and if you have this Gear 12 plus, obviously you get a free 12 speed. So if you have Nest or Thrawn with your fastest set, just get ready to switch it over to Revan when he gets there, and hopefully over 300. I don't know, I'd have to take a look at your mods to tell you what you'd get from him.
Okay. Ranger, you got this now? I have the dude coming over.
Yeah, who did you did?
We're back at the top, so we're starting with Warrior.
Then King.
I have the order in the admins.
In the admins? Okay, give me a second.
Next question for Warrior, Stanley.
All right. Fine, Malak. Question: what does Jango's contract require? I am trying to have him go first, thus speed set. Currently 220 or 210 speed.
Man, I don't use his leadership as often as I probably should. Let me just pull it up really quick for his contract.
His is attacking debuffed enemies.
Is it 20 times? You have to hit a debuff enemy 20 times?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what was the question now that we know the contract?
That was basically the question. He's trying to have him go first, and he has 210 speed. He's wondering if that's enough.
Well, it's relative to what they're going against. I mean, if your opponents are slower, then yes. If your opponents are faster, then no. I think what's important is that you put him with a bunch of AoE experts, such as Boba Fett and like Dengar, because what happens is when you get individuals that do that, you are debuffing the whole lot of the other side, and so it kind of guarantees you're going to be able to hit somebody that's got the debuffs, and you'll be able to get that contract faster than you probably would have without.
Okay. Next question for Riemann, please, Gingervitis.
Nathaniel Morgan, question about to get Revan. How do I not pull my hair out from fighting 5,000 mirror matches per day?
Well, things could shift here if we get a new character this month that really kind of boosts up the Sith again and makes them, really good. It depends on what happens, but how do you not pull your hair out? Just be smart about your kill order. Make sure that you take Revan out. Make sure you have good mods. The battles can be faster than some that are kind of drawn out or time out, or because some people end up getting to the last minute there with these 4-5 minute battles with the Jedis because the speeds aren't right and the kill order is not right. So if you do everything correctly, you should have a little more fun. Plus, there's a lot more diversity now than there was a couple months ago. I mean, we're seeing a lot more people using like these CLS teams with Chewie and C-3PO, and I think that trend is just going to continue. And we're going to see some more Revans come out, obviously because of the Revan event. But I think that's not everybody that gets Revan is going to necessarily run Revan in Arena. I mean, even though there's people I know that have Revan now that still run Sith in Arena. And that's just because that's what they want to do. So, people are going to also be running, Traya teams with Dark Bastila when they have her 7 stars, and that'll be a good team. And again, if we get a good addition to the Sith faction this month, that could kind of shake up the meta a little bit too. So let's see what happens and go from there.
All right. Next question for Miss Maple Syrup.
Sword of the Jedi. Question, can we talk more about Team Money trying to stream from bed after staying up late making movies? Were they involved with a MILF? Should I keep my eyes on the interweb?
I honestly, sometimes I make silly jokes like that. I was just way too tired to actually tune in that was something ridiculous that I was saying. So, lesson learned. All right. Give me a game question. I'm hungry.
Caleb Hames. Why is everyone saying Revan is early? CLS came back in 4.5 months, and Rey came back in 3. Revan will be back in 3.5 months. So it would seem that he's in the ballpark of the other heroic journey characters.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And there's an awesome site called SWGOH events.com, no spaces or anything, and you can go there, and right on their homepage is all of the events, and it's super cool because you can look back even with a credit heist. You can see where all, like, how many days in between, so like 8, 14, 5, 6, 6, 9, 11, and you can go through all of the events and see exactly when they came back. And it's kind of interesting to see. I don't know whether it's like a correction that they made or and now we're on a better schedule, or if it was all intentional. But certainly, with like you said earlier, where with the Artist of War, when Thrawn first came back, it was 114 days between when he landed and when he came back. So many moons. And then but a lot of them are kind of on schedule for 30 days, and they'll estimate when the next one is too on there. There's also a bot that you can bring into your servers, and just look around for that. There's a SWGOH bot server. If people want to PM me, I can send that to you, or I can go find the link, and you can just type in like whatever it is, Grandmaster Yoda event, and it'll just tell you right when the next event is coming, which is really useful. But yeah, no, it's it's basically 90 days to the date. And like I said, we did, what's the big word I used? Extrapolated. We extrapolated, and it was like literally to the day. It's like, this is when Bastila Shan landed in the game, her marquee. This is when she became farmable. And to the day, Bastila Shan fallen, when her marquee was, and when she landed in the game, it's exactly the same, like to the very day. Sorry, I'm lying. It was like 4 days late, and because I think they were on holidays when they came into the store, and then it was right to the day again when she became farmable. So these things are predictable. Like I said, it's like a game within a game that we can figure these things out. I love it. And somebody corrected me the other day, and it was like, hey, T-Money, you're telling the guild to farm these characters. What about the Sith ships? Is the Ebon Hawk coming? And I was like, crap, like why didn't I see that one? I usually am pretty good. I think I'm ignoring them because the drop rates are so horrible for those guys. Ugh, awful.
Oh, T-Money, your powers of the future sight have been diminished greatly.
I'm really good. I've guessed like everything
4
that I've
days.
said.
I mean, that's a lifetime.
I'm right on all of them. I won't always do that, but yeah, whenever I'm sure, when I'm telling a guild of 50 people to panic farm something, I better be sure that I'm right about it.
All right. Next question to Felix, who is king.
Nathaniel Morgan, question: why does CG count ships Jeep?
Wait, what?
Sorry, I thought I was muted there for a second. Nathaniel Morgan, question: why does CG count ships GP for Grand Arena events that don't use ships?
It's a good question. Maybe the next time they come over to Warrior's house, you can ask.
Stop it.
I think it's probably they just haven't. They don't want to make 2 different algorithms for the matchmaking. And since some Grand Arenas have ships, they're just using one algorithm. And if you have a massive ship GP and your character's a little weak, it's gonna be a rough Grand Arena for you when you don't actually use the ships. Either that, or they just haven't thought of it. But their matchmaking's never been perfect anyway, so take your lumps and build up your character GP.
All right, next question for Scissorman Warrior.
Leonardo Dimakolangan. Question for Warrior: is Cassian ship better than Bistan ship? Wondering if I should gear up the Cassian pilots first or the Bistan pilots.
Yes, and yes. I know everybody is freaking out about Bistan because McMull made a really cool video showcasing Bistan's ship and how amazing it is with the extra turn meter and stealth and all of that. And Bistan's ship's always been great. But I can destroy 100% of my opponents with Cassian as my first reinforcement 100% of the time. I don't even need a second reinforcement. And the reason is that buff that makes Millennium Falcon so amazing and unavoidable or not targetable is dispellable instantaneously. So you bring your character in, it dispels everybody, and then you just do his special that calls an assist, make sure you call your Millennium Falcon, and it's an insta-kill. They both do like 70, 80 grand, and their Millennium Falcon falls very hard and fast. The second their ship is dead, it's just over. And so I use Cassian Viewing as my first reinforcement 90% of my battles. Worst case scenario, super tanky team. They use double tanks in the front. You might need 2 reinforcements, maybe, but rare. So Cassian's Ewing when maxed is absolutely insane. It's got great counter capability. It's got Dispel when it comes in off a reinforcement. It's got a call to assist with guaranteed crits. It's got a counter chance. Just really amazing ship. So I've always tooted the horn of Cassian's Ewing. In the past, Distance, I've touted that ship as well. But if I have to choose between the two, I would go Cassian, and I actually only use Cassian. I don't use Distance right now.
All right. Next question for Ramon.
Helenix, question. I was recently asked by a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes gamer if lootcakes.com is a legitimate website. They saw a YouTube ad claiming Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes players can gain extra currency, crystals, or something. Have you guys heard of this site? Can y'all elaborate on it at all? I'm always cautious of any site claiming to give Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes rewards outside the game itself.
I've never heard of that. If somebody on the panel knows more about that, then you could take this. But I would be weary too of anything that says you can get crystals and currency from it, because usually that's not the case. But there are certain circumstances where, let's say, the studio or the publisher has an arrangement with some website where, let's say, if you go there and you download something or you purchase something like or let's say you just you play a certain game, that you'll get like some sort of currency towards this other game. So I've heard of that kind of thing being real, but I don't know. Usually it's not. The only time I've ever seen the only times I've ever seen things like that happen is, like, I remember like a couple years ago there was a bonus if you bought a gift card from Walmart. There was an additional 3,000 crystals plus a full 330 shards for Ray Scavenger, just for buying a $100 gift card. So I did that and got, like, instead of the 15,700 crystals, I got 18,000 crystals and then a full unlock of Ray. Even though I already had Ray 7 stars, they just went right to the shard shop. So it was like, I ended up, instead of buying a vault from in game, just using a gift card from Walmart to do it. And it was right before the Ray Jedi training heroes journey. So that was part of the reason I did that. But that stuff like that. Usually, if it's just like a website telling you to do it, I would be kind of weary about it. I don't know. Does anybody know anything about this site?
Yeah,
there's a lot of scammers.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Laura.
I was just going to say, there's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of fake stuff, and you got to be really leery. But there are also a lot of programs out there where they say, like, you rate companies, or you rate apps, or you play apps, or you do this, or you do that, or all sorts of different programs. And then what they do is they pay you pennies on the dollar in advertising from those things, where they basically forward that to you and you earn. And then over time you can buy like a Google Play card. And then all this is advertising. They're basically saying, since they know you play Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, they say you can get in-game currency. Well, it's a Google Play card you get from them, and you could use that towards any game, but they're marketing it specifically towards Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. If you go to the Marvel websites, they're advertising towards Marvel individuals because it's marketing. So there are some legitimate companies out there giving away free money. It just takes 6 months of doing whatever it is they need you or want you to do before you earn enough to actually get like a $20 gift card. Some people do it because it's free money, but it takes so long that, to me, it's just a waste of time. And there's so many scammers out there that are blended in with those legitimate marketing companies that it makes it difficult to kind of tell the difference.
Mm-hmm. The rule of thumb is you I think it's not the rule of thumb, but you cannot procure crystals from outside the in-game store, right? So you can like these guys are saying, you can get credits towards Google Play or the Apple Store, and then use that credit to purchase something within your game, but you can never ever buy crystals outside the game. It's just, don't do it. We've had hundreds of people, complete guilds have completely folded in a day. 30, 40 people just gone, their accounts locked, they're done. They've had their accounts taken away from them because they're buying crystals from a third party source. So you always have to get your crystals in game. If you can get, like I do, Google surveys, and they send you surveys, and it's like, thank you, you just got 25 cents or 75 cents or whatever, and you can build up some currency that way. But never, ever, ever get your crystals from a source outside the in-game, the store in the game.
All right. Team Money is the next question.
King Felix, question for Team Money. Your guildmate out to lunch. What is their Grand Arena defense strategy?
Well,
Just wondering.
I heard, yes, it's starting to get really fun. Hey, Grand Arena, you're like, oh yeah, who did you get and from what guild? And
Favorite game mode by far.
Yeah.
And when I saw the Wolfpack, I figured if anyone knew, it would be Team Money.
Well, I won't say I know, but yes, we have a very busy Grand Arena channel going. It's a lot of fun. It's still not territory wars though. We're all still getting into trouble.
I prefer it to territory wars, and I'm just waiting for the day when I get to go up against people that I actually know and not just guildmates of people that I know. But I love Grand Arena. It's way better than every other game. Although I'm not a big fan of the 3v3. But what are you gonna do?
I love seeing all the innovation that's coming out right now with 3 versus 3. Like, so many cool teams. Every day it's like you put the first day is like, okay, all the teams went in, and there was some innovation that happened over the month off or whatever, however long it's been since we did 3v3. But then like the next round, it's like, oh, all these new teams, and look how this held. A suggestion I have for guilds is to make a channel that is a non-discussion channel where you post all of your holds and all of your counters, so that people can see, you can like readily see a pattern of all of the teams that are holding on defense, and then you can, someone's like, oh, I took this team out with this, and just post screenshots of the teams that you're facing, and just make little notes about what you use to take it down, either like, with a app right on the screenshot, or just make little notes, type notes underneath. And that's been so useful. Lots of people are taking videos of how they're taking down teams, so do your guild a favor and just build up those resources for them, so that a month from now you're like, what the heck did I use to take down that Nightsister team? And you can just scroll back up and have everyone's collective knowledge in there.
Yeah.
All right. King Felix, next question.
Apropos win. Question, what's the mod priorities for the typical Revan team? Hermit Yoda speed, Grandmaster Yoda offense, but what about Revan, Bastila, and Jolie?
So I don't use Hermit Yoda. I prefer General Kenobi. But Revan is all speed. With Bastila and Jolie, you want tanky and a lot of tenacity. Bastila is important to go before General Kenobi does, because what you want her to do is to give all of her buffs to Grandmaster Yoda. You also want Bastila to go, if you're facing Traya, you want her to go after their Scion goes, or else the buffs she spreads are just useless. But you want her to give the buffs to Grandmaster Yoda, let him take a turn, and then he can refill his turn meter when he attacks a opponent above 50% health. And he can spread all of his buffs. You can call Mass Assist from General Kenobi. But if you're using Hermit Yoda, it's basically going to be the same principle with his Grandmaster's training. Also, if you're facing mirror matches, don't worry about crit chance or crit damage on Grandmaster Yoda, because with GK, he's going to be spreading the crit immunity. So offense is always better. Who did I miss? I don't think I missed anybody. If you do end up going to General Kenobi, you just want him tanky as all hell, because he's going to be the one who gets a lot of the damage. And yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I have to I have to get going.
Oh, okay, Remo.
All right, but thanks for having me, and
course.
good luck the rest of the show.
All right, thanks,
Take care, bro.
Ramon.
Take care, guys.
My Ramona. All right. Next question to CG Party at the House Warrior.
Jason Kunin. Question, Warrior, do you believe Sith ships will be required for an event of some sort?
Yes, but when and I've personally heard nothing, so I think that they're pretty good about ramping up one thing at a time. Each month has a particular focus, and I know that their focus in February tends to be Sith, but that normally spills over into March for like some of the subsequent stuff. So I have a feeling that we'll see Sith things at the end of February, beginning of March. So we'll probably see the character or characters first, and then we can possibly see the ship stuff, at the beginning of March, possibly middle of March. In fact, they might make that a bigger focus in March. That's just my guess, but for them to bring out like a legendary ship or a ship and a capital ship and a new character that's legendary, it seems like a lot for 1 month. They used to do, like a couple of reworks and a new character, and they were pretty good about their cadence of bringing in like, 1 or 2 new characters plus a couple of reworks. And then they got a little out of hand, and all of a sudden we were seeing like, 5, 6 characters in a month, and they realized they overloaded the community. And I am hoping that they learned from their mistakes and realized that was too much, because there is a balance. All these games, I've done surveys with like 14 companies now, where they pay me money to do the whale surveys to tell them like what whales think and stuff. And then they share those results with me. And what they find is that there's this healthy balance of introducing no more than 3 new pieces of content max a month, or you overwhelm your target audience. And I think that I'm hoping that Capital Games does these kinds of surveys too, and they learn like other companies are doing from their past when they've overloaded us and realized they've gone a bit too far. So I don't think that a new capital ship is coming in February, but I could be wrong. I think that since they've already confirmed Revan's return, I think that's for a character-based new character, such as Darth Malak. And with that focus, I think there might be a couple of reworks that are thrown at us, hopefully, such as Count Dooku or, Sidious or someone. I think that would be kind of fun to kind of touch one of the old Sith that needed a little bit of a rework, maybe Separatist, And then maybe going into March, they could introduce a new Separatist capital ship and surprise us or sneak in a Sith capital ship when people are least expecting it at the same time, killing our prestige all at once.
All right. Next money for Maple Syrup Tea Money.
Hella next. Question for my favorite Canadian pirate, Team Money.
Uh-oh.
I won the first 2 rounds of my 3v3 Grand Arena. I'm wondering, considering I usually lose most rounds, is this a sign of the end times? I know, I'm scared too.
Absolutely. I actually read that question in the chat stream and was like, that can't be right. Those words don't go together.
Wait a minute.
No, congratulations. And I think that this is really going to be an evolving beast, Grand Arena. I don't know. I love it so much, and I just want to.
Why don't you marry it then?
I do. I would totally marry.
No.
I find Grand Arena super stressful. I love territory wars and I love PvP, but I like I like being a bystander and kind of watching everything evolve. I love that kind of underworld of gaming and the theory crafting and everything. It's just so cool. There's so many smart people in the community. Do I get another question?
Yes, you get another question.
Sure. Jason Kunin, question. I am not real familiar with KOTOR. Who would be the pilots required for the Ebon Hawk?
Yes.
Oh, that's a question. That's a good question for Ramon.
He's not
gonna
here.
Answer that. Oh no. Well, I'm not answering that.
Yes,
I
you
have
are.
looked. I've been reading and trying to figure that out. There's the Ebon Hawk changed hands so many times, but at one point it was Revan and Canderous. Scion piloted the Hawk as well. Hey, so it could be because it changed hands. It was like stolen from the Sith as like a getaway vehicle, and it's got a really dynamic history. But I was surprised. I was looking for like, do Mission and Zal have like even a shuttle or anything that they use? Like there was a shuttle that got them off the planet, but there's no real story around it or name. So I don't know what pilots that they might introduce into the game to have a synergy with this, other than, of course, Assassin, Marauder, Vader, and Maul, all of the Sith ships. But those seem like they would be in opposition to this, unless the Ebon Hawk could be a Sith capital ship. I don't know. I'm talking out of my butt here, so why don't you take us through it?
I'm kind of impressed, T. You did your reading that I told you to do.
Yeah, well, you got to know about lore to predict what's coming, right? Because they stick to that. And hey, okay, just as a total aside, is it possible that Kylo is actually the son of Kira and Han instead of Leia and Han? Because if you think about their kits, they're super similar.
No,
like their kits in game are super similar. I don't know.
In the books, the books are canon.
They're based on critical chance, right?
You think Galaxy of Heroes knows more about the Star Wars universe than the movies do?
No, because it's
similar.
George Lucas, they approve everything in this game. There is like knees in this game without Lucasfilm approving.
I'm going to put this to bed because in the Leia book, that I can't remember the name of it, that's canon. It talks.
Oh, it is canon. Okay.
It talks about when she was pregnant, she could feel the Force with Ben and all that kind of stuff.
Is that one of the Aftermath?
I can't remember the Aftermath.
Could it have been a surrogate child?
A surrogate child.
Look, I don't know how they do things in Canada, but in Star Wars they do things
when you encourage me to read about lore, Ranger.
There is something
surrogate child.
There is something in Galaxy of Heroes, though, Felix, that may be something that's not in the movies that foreshadows it. And people saw it when Jedi Training Rey was released, right? Her animations are very similar to Old Ben. So that may be...
Are you talking about her... her animations... You're referring...
Her animations and her abilities are very similar to Old Ben. So it's possible that Rey... And this was a theory even beforehand, but that Rey is the kid of Kenobi.
Has anybody read the Kenobi book that came out a couple of years ago that I believe has been decanonized when he was on Tatooine?
I have not, no.
It takes place right when he gets there, and there is a slight love interest in that.
Well, he had a relationship with what's-her-name, too.
Yes. Yeah. You're talking about Duchess Satine.
Yes.
But she died, so probably not Rey's mom.
I know. I'm just saying he's a player. He's a player.
There's a woman who runs a general store in Tatooine, and he ends up sending her and her family away at the end of the book. Spoiler alert, sorry.
Thanks, King Felix. You want to ruin anything else?
Look, the book's been out for like 4 years. If you haven't read it, that's your problem.
Well, there's tons of books that maybe you haven't got to them yet, King Felix. Not like the movies.
Do you want? I can send it to you. I have the paperback. All right.
Well, I already know the ending now. What's the point?
It's a great book, and it is physically possible. I don't see that much similarity in their kits. My guess is they just naturally went to the same fighting lightsaber style.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
All right,
I said it before. My guess is that Rey is the daughter of Luke and Mara Jade. So I'm hoping for Mara Jade.
No, that's not going to be.
Force Ghost Rey incoming. By Finn's logic, Dengar and Chewie are related. Rey is the daughter of Kira.
Hugging dogs.
Oh my gosh. Hold on.
That's what the chat's saying.
You're speaking too fast. I can't take notes.
No, these are not real notes. Stop it.
Just kidding. Come on, have a little faith.
Oh my God! All right.
Darth Sidious is the maker of BB-8. Just saying.
Darth Sidious is mad that we can read. I'm reading the chat.
God.
Back to the question. It's like the KOTOR Ranger, like the little ships that are going to go along if we do have the Ebon Hawk. You know, are we just getting the cap ship,
Well,
and
here's
then
the
the
thing.
new ships are going to come in as they do, or what, you know, what's going to happen there?
Well, so the ships that they have in there are from the Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic, right? Knights of the Old Republic is 300 years before the Old Republic, roughly, or maybe a little bit longer. The Knights of the Old Republic deals with the timeline of Revan and all that stuff that happens there. Old Republic deals with it hundreds of years later when the Sith Empire invades the Galactic Republic. So the ships that say Old Republic is confusing for a lot of people because like those ships that you see there, like for the Marauder and the Assassin, those are ships that were in the Old Republic, the MMORPG. You can actually fly those and do ship battles in PvP with those. They have nothing to do with the Old Republic ship if you call Ebon Hawk Old Republic whatsoever. You know, if you make it a Sith ship. So I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, there are ships from the Knights of the Old Republic timeline, you know, capital ships, things of that nature. But they're gonna have to be specific on their classification. Because if you just say Old Republic, well, that's kind of a broad timeline. I mean, technically, Exar Kun and them are from the Old Republic.
Okay,
you know?
I've got something.
What?
I've got something because I think when they stole the Ebon Hawk, they were on, I don't know what the planet's name was, but they were on the ground. So they were actually on the ground, and they had to like sneak on to the ship and like yeah, oh sure. They had to sneak onto the ship on the ground and get the ship and take off with it. So maybe, but then they're still going to need to. Maybe it's like a ground war to get the ship. And
I don't know.
Or maybe it's no. I don't know. I think there's a raid. There's got to be a ship raid coming because it's just. Of course, there's a raid coming that has like an element of ships in it. Why wouldn't there be? Maybe not all 4 phases. That would be so stupid, but certainly a phase. You know, Death Star raid. Come on, Death Star raid
for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to show up.
They make us. Obviously, there's going to be a Death Star raid at some point in time because you know this is Star Wars. It's just, you know. They make us wait for the stuff that that we want the most, like Revan, Darth Revan, Jedi Luke, you know.
All right, next question for King Felix, please, Stanley.
Rampage question: thinking outside the box, but what if CG came out with a Traya in February? LOL.
It wouldn't shock me one bit.
No,
cool.
and I like that idea too.
It's actually pretty cool, yeah.
I think it would be interesting to get like a Traya Mitra Scourge type of February. I think that would be an interesting way to go. I know everyone's thinking Malak, but I'm not sure if it's going to be that obvious.
And when's our last? Okay, let me think about this. When's our last like chick legendary?
Chick legendary?
Well, you're counting Ray's Hero's Journey.
Like there's Ray, yeah.
Ray Hero's Journey, and that's it.
Yeah, they put Traya. They put Traya in the raid. So.
But that's it's
Traya's
true, and that's
yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is pretty good for, I mean, this is
the
contentious thing, but like they're pretty good
Holdo.
for having female heroes. But we have a lot of male legendaries, so
And
maybe
Rose.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
You know those chick Jedi. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
Yeah, girl.
All right, Rodney Dangerfield, calm down.
Oh my God. All right, Warrior. Let's get Warrior another question.
Let's see, Rampage. Warrior, great pillar video. I took a lot out of it. A lot of characters take the same gear. How are you? Do you prioritize giving gear?
Well, it's fluid. It's kind of a balancing act. There's no like magical thing to say like every third day do gear, blah blah blah. But it's so it's fluid. But I mean, it's kind of natural. So when you're gearing up your team, you're farming for them to get 7 stars. And I would say that the stars are always more important than the gear. And this is why your stars are your ticket to the show. If you can't go to the show, all the gear in the world don't matter. But if you can get into the show, then gear matters. But you've got to get into the show first. You need the ticket, and the ticket is your star rate. So you got to get the stars first. But keep in mind 5-star for everything pretty much, except for a couple of characters. But 15 new legendary things, and of the 15 legendary things, only a couple require 7-star requirements. So 5-star is your ticket. That's what you have to prioritize first and foremost. But gear comes second. However, you should be farming, like I mentioned in the farm guide, a couple of characters in each node, and you should still have enough energy. If you're not doing refreshes, if you're truly free to play, you're not doing refreshes that on the nodes. That means that you're going to run out of nodes to farm, and you're going to have subsequent energy and energy refreshes throughout the day that you're going to have, just for gear. So I've been doing characters with my initial 3 energy refresh, and then the remaining plus all my refreshes throughout the day, I've been doing gear. There have been a couple of days I've had to pause character farming for gear to get a character to the next gear level because I found myself falling behind in arena, and you definitely got to try and kind of keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. In that you got to kind of find a few days where you push a little harder than you normally do on gear. This gear situation will start to subside after the first couple of months once you get into a good guild that has the pit, heroic pit on farm. By the way, anyone can get into a guild with heroic pit on farm. It takes one human to have heroic pit on farm, and that guild instantly has it on farm. So for this notion that you can't get into a good guild right off the bat is crazy. You can do that. And then the AAT, even if it's not heroic, but if it is heroic, you'll get the gear from both of those. And that gear, while we laugh and say, oh, it's trash gear, is actually phenomenal gear for getting through 7, 8, and 9 gear levels, which is the free-to-play nightmare zone. And so that's where it's going to start to kind of alleviate some of your issues with gear, because you're going to be getting it as long as you have an active guild. And all that matters is everyone's doing 600, because it only takes a couple of people to be able to do those raids, and the rest of the people are what a lot of people would mention as being carried. But it doesn't really matter, because lots of guilds just want the 600, because if they have a bunch of people under them doing 600, they get to do more of those solos for themselves. So I have a lot of people that have a guild where all they care about is getting number 1 in hat and in pit, and they just need 49 other people doing 600 so they can get their first place. And they don't care if everybody else is 100,000 GP as long as they're doing their 600. That's what's most important for them. So that's kind of the idea on gear, is you want to focus on the character's star level so you can participate in these events, and then the gear is secondary. But there are times you're going to have to pause and really focus on that gear, because at the end of the day, if you get left behind on gear, you're going to get screwed. But the events, the gear that you get from the raids, things like that, are going to kind of catch you up pretty quickly, actually, with gear on your character, surprisingly. And as free to play, the majority of these teams, you're only going to take to 8 or 9 initially to unlock those top 15 characters. And then those top 15 characters are the ones you're going to drive all the way to gear 12 as free to play. And then you can go back and start to really focus on those teams, slowly bringing certain factions up higher as needed, such as Nightsisters, your Jedi, things like that, as you find those necessary for the game.
All right.
Ranger, the stream is lagging a little bit every now and then. Plus, we're getting to the 2-hour mark, so probably should start wrapping up.
All right, let's rapid fire. Team Money next question.
Doyusen, question: if my daughter would make a great Rose Tico for Halloween, what should the wife and I dress up as to complement the 2-year-old's Rose Tico costume? Never too early to plan for Halloween.
Well, depending on how old she is, this is probably the most brilliant costume I've ever thought of. You could put her in like a little snuggly and then dress up like a ship. And then your wife could dress up like one of those big blasters. And you could just be like, knocking people away from trying to talk to your wife.
Okay.
Sorry, don't ask me to make up Halloween costumes, because I will.
Okay, next question. Let's give Team Money everyone.
Contingent 33. Question: when working on my alts, Actually, that's a warrior question.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Can't touch this question. I know it's hard to say 100%, but do you think Revan will survive a meta change if we get a big Sith February?
Well, not a lot of people agree with me, I don't think, but I do think that they balance these things out pretty well. Revan comes in, he's totally unbeatable, but not for too long. Here comes Darkside Bastila, helping Traya to come back into the meta and let people climb again. So I think that Revan will absolutely stay in the meta. He might get knocked down pretty quickly and allow Traya to come back. But what I think that the company likes in general is a lot of movement in Arena. People like coming up and falling down and coming up and falling down. And can you imagine how much money or how many crystals are just spent on doing an extra 50 to try and climb up into the top spots to get your payout of 500, 400, 300 crystals? Probably a lot, especially when the meta is so rock scissors paper. So I think that'll, like, my guess, this is not a prediction, as a guess, is that the meta will come and it will sit in the top. It will be something really new and dynamic and cool, and it probably will bring Traya back into the mix. There might be a panic farm for Sith Marauder to be like super strong with this team. Sith Assassin, those kind of characters who we see associated with KOTOR. And maybe Darth Traya will be underneath this new character, or lead still, and then that'll be very dominant. But then we'll have another Jedi released, or somebody will figure something out, and probably a marquee character, and then down they go again.
All right, next question, King Felix.
Okay, let's see. Contingent 33 question. I have routed all energy to Emo, Bastila, and Canderous when they become farmable, but I have not bought Johani or Karth from shipments. Do you think I am too far behind the 8 ball?
Honestly, probably. With the way CG does things, I want you to know that you're probably in a better position than I am, because I'm just farming regular and I'm not doing anything crazy for these guys. But most likely, yes, I would say at the end of, because I believe T-Money said Karth and Juhani will be farmable on the 31st, right?
Supposedly. That would
that's the extrapolation.
Yeah.
Yes.
The extrapolations have told us that the Sith event will happen the second or third week of February. That's how this works.
All right.
If you're lucky, it's the third week. Most likely, it's the second week. So if you're really trying to get on this new meta, then you better farm to your heart's content. I would say I would bet that one of the two is going to go into Cantina. So try and finish off Canderous as fast as you can, so that you can get the next one. My bet is Juhani, but who knows? And just keep farming as fast as you can, because it's going to be about 2-3 weeks before this event comes.
All right. Next question, Warrior, go.
Helenex, question for the amazing Scissor Man Warrior. I have all the original Old Republic tunes at 7-star, Gear 8, and level 60-ish. I'd like to avoid over-investing in them immediately, though I will eventually. Purely for unlocking Jedi Knight Revan, what's the barest minimum that I should invest in these original Old Republic tunes? I assume taking them to level 85 should be enough.
Level 82 for most of them, so you can get to like level 7 their abilities, and at a minimum I would take their abilities to level 7 on all of them. Get the Mark 3s, purple ability mats used on all of them. You might be able to do it without any of the Omegas, but I would do level 82, level 7 on all the abilities, and where your gear level's at could possibly be done if you know the character's kits really well, intimately, as I would say, and you know how to maximize their abilities, and you've got, a possible Zeta on one of them, you might be able to do it pretty easily. If you don't have any Zetas on any of them, then you might want to consider Jolie, his Zeta. He's kind of an all or nothing with the Zeta. the team can underperform drastically. They can do far better, and you'll want it anyway because of Revan. So just a suggestion, if you're sitting on some Zetas, maybe do Jolie's, and that'll give you kind of an easy pass through the event.
All right.
And just really quick, I've got to go. I've got to open my store in 2 minutes.
All right.
So I've got to
pimp your stuff.
But I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I will pimp your stuff for you then, Warrior.
Awesome.
All right. How many more questions we got, Stanley?
I'm getting rid of the warrior questions. Let's see.
We have a lot of questions, but we need to start wrapping up. We're at
I'm getting rid of those, and 6 left.
All right,
let's just wrap up. You guys have we'll keep your questions. Don't worry.
Okay.
Let's wrap up.
All right, so this is where we will pimp. We try to keep these about 2 hours. It is Saturday and stuff. So if we didn't get your question, what we will do is we will hold on to them, and we will get to those. We will add those to the question queue for next week as well. Let me see here. All right, let me pimp Warrior stuff real quick. So if you guys haven't, check out Warrior on Warrior Presents. That's his main channel. He also has he's been running his alt Series of Man Warrior, so check that out. I know he has a roster review channel, so check out all his stuff out there. He just put out a video for his new pillar system, so make sure you go and look at that video. It's really, really informative. He took a lot of time on it, and it's some great information, especially for you new players that are looking which way you want to farm your characters, things of that nature. So check that out. Ramon can be found on Sunday nights, Monday morning. I prefer to say Monday morning because my God, does he stream late? And you can check him out on the Alliance channel, him and good old Maurice and whoever else that can come along. You can find them there. I try to be on when I can for that show, but it's hard because it's so late at night, and Sundays and Mondays are so brutal for me right now at the moment. Jeez, with school and everything. But make sure you check that out. And then Team Money, Operation Metaverse. Tell us about it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I just as the street just now, I made a video public, and it's 3 versus 3. It's a video good old Maurice did. He was experimenting in 3v3 and found Bastila to be a super hard counter to Karth and Mission Zalbar. So it's a team that's getting lots of holds. It shouldn't, because Bastila just absolutely wrecks it. So we just launched that, and good old Maurice will kill me if I don't get a video on the prepared mechanic out today or tomorrow. So those are coming out, and then we stream on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our channel Operation Metaverse.
All right. And then King Felix, anything you want to shout out real quick?
Mighty Clorians, and everyone have a good weekend.
Okay. So if you're watching this on...
Hey, I want to pimp something too.
Oh! Saley wants to pimp something? Okay, go for it, brother.
Yeah, I got another Sanely Red Gaming on Monday. This time it's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to play some Hitman 2 and also the Resident Evil 2 one-shot demo.
Very nice. Now, if you guys have not watched the Hitman videos, prepare for laughter, because the way some of these people die in this, man. I'm sorry. Every time I think of Hitman, I think of that poor bastard drowning in 3 inches of water. Oh, my God. It was the funniest thing ever. That and the poison sushi, I think... the greatest things I've ever seen in a game. Especially Saley's reaction, like, all right, let me just put him down. Oh, he died. What do you mean he died? But check that out on the RSG channel, which is what you're listening to now. We do all kinds of gaming for you guys. So that'll be 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday, Saley?
That's correct.
Okay, good. So right after the lunch stream, you can watch Stanley do his thing. Perfect time to continue watching RSG. We stream a lot. Tomorrow we'll have the D&D campaign from 5 p.m. Eastern to usually about 8. We do about 3 hours of streaming for the D&D. So if you want to check that out, please do. We also have our lunch stream, which we run Monday through Friday from 12 to 1. We have our Wednesday night show, which is the longest live stream in the Galaxy Heroes community. Tuesdays is PC Gaming Night. Thursdays is now Tactical Monsters. Fridays will be definitely for Battlefront, so you get your Battlefront fix there. And then Saturday, of course, you're watching this, the Jedi Academy. Do me a favor, guys. Go to all these channels, including ours. Right now, what you need to do is stop what you're doing and give us a thumbs up on this video. And also subscribe if you haven't already. And please go do the same for all these other great content providers, all these game changers, people that take time out of their business schedule to be here for you. So if you could show some love and support and go to their channel, watch their videos, give them a thumbs up on them, give them some view times, you know, help their channels grow as well, that would be greatly appreciated. Check out their Patreons, check out all that stuff. You can check out our Patreon. We have our ACS campaign, which we're working on to do another big live stream, which will be coming up. We'll have more news for that soon. We're raising money for the American Cancer Society, so please check that out as well. I think that covers everything. So on behalf of myself and the panel, thank you guys for being here today. We really appreciate all your love and support. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we will holler at you later. Peace.